Good morning, students. We have already started our chapter Coordination Compounds. We studied about Werner's observations and then we have to start now with the next topic, which is very important, that is terms and definitions. These terms and definitions, they are used while studying coordination compounds, and you need to understand these terms and definitions very clearly. Students, I have made a list of various terms and definitions which you are supposed to understand for studying coordination compounds or coordination chemistry, right? These definitions are coordination compound, coordination entity, what is a legend, what is a unidentate legend, what is a didentate legend, what is a polydentate legend, and then very important definition, what do you understand by denticity of the legend. Then what is a chelating agent, what are chelates or metal chelates, what is chelate effect, okay, and what do you understand by chelation. Then very important definitions are what are homoleptic complexes, what are heteroleptic complexes, and what is an ambidentate legend. These three definitions, homoleptic complexes, heteroleptic complexes, and ambidentate legends, they are frequently asked in the examination. Then you have to understand what is coordination number, and then you have to learn what do you understand by coordination sphere, and what is coordination polyhedron, and what is a counter ion, and what is the oxidation number of metal atom or ion in the coordination entity. So you have to learn all these definitions. Not only definitions, you have to learn examples also along with them. Yes, students, let us define the various terms and definitions. The first one is coordination compound. What is a coordination compound? A coordination compound is that chemical compound which contains one or more coordination entity. And what is a coordination entity? A coordination entity consists of a central metal atom or ion which is bonded to a fixed number of species called ligands, right? This coordination entity is represented in square bracket in the formula of a chemical compound. Now coordination entities, depending upon the charge present on them, can be classified into cationic entities or cationic complexes, anionic entities or anionic complexes, neutral entities or neutral complexes. If the charge present on the coordination entity is plus, it is called a cationic entity or cationic complex. Now I have given two examples. In the first example, two ligands, ammonia molecules, they are bonded to a silver atom, and the overall charge present on it is +1. And the second example, there are four ligands, ammonia molecules, which are ligating with one copper cation, and the overall charge is 2+. So these are the examples of cationic complexes. Now, anionic entities or anionic complexes, those entities or those complexes which carry a negative charge on them, they are known as anionic entities or anionic complexes. So there are three examples. Two cyanide ligands, they are bonded to a silver atom and the overall charge is -1. Six cyanide ligands, they are linked to one chromium ion, and there is a overall -3 charge on the complex or entity. Then there are six cyanide ligands which are ligating with one iron cation, and the overall charge is -3. So all these three are the examples of anionic entities because they carry negative charge on them. What are neutral entities or neutral complexes? Those entities, those coordination entities or those coordination complexes which carry no charge on it, they are known as neutral complexes. For example, tetracarbonyl nickel. Now in this, there are 4 carbonyl ligands which are bonded to a nickel atom, and there is no overall charge on the coordination entity. Then there are 5 carbonyl ligands which are ligating with the iron atom, and there is no overall charge. Such entities, they are known as neutral entities or neutral complexes. Now we have to define what a ligand is. Now I have already told you that in a coordination entity there is one central metal atom or ion, and to this are bonded a number of species. They can be negatively charged species, they can be neutral molecules, or sometimes they can be positively charged species also. So these are known as ligands. So the ligands, they get bonded to this central metal atom or central metal ion by coordinate covalent bonds. So each ligand has got a pair of electrons to donate. So if somebody asks you what is a ligand is a species which can be negatively charged, which can be neutral, which can be positively charged species, which have got ability to donate a pair of electrons. So that is the definition of a ligand. Now on the basis of the charge present on the ligand, they can be classified into neutral ligands, negative ligands, and positive ligands. The examples for neutral ligands which I have given, they are methyl, water, ammonia, and nitrosyl ligands, right? And those ligands which carry no charge on them, which are neutral, they are called neutral ligands. And then what are negative ligands? Sir, ligands which are carrying a negative charge on them, they are called negative ligands. Examples is chloride, hydroxide, cyanide, and carbonate ligands. We call them as chlorido, hydroxo, and cyanido or cyano and carbonato ligands when we name them. Okay, then comes cationic ligands or positive ligands. There are certain ligands you will come across quite rarely which carry a positive charge on them. So I have given one example of nitrosonium ion, NO plus charge, then nitronium ion, NO2 with plus charge. So these are the examples of positive ligands. The ligands which carry a positive charge on them, they are positive ligands. Then another way of classifying ligands is on the denticity. So denticity you will understand. First you understand the terms. Unidentate ligands. The examples are ammonia molecule, water molecule, cyanide molecule, and hydroxide ion, chloride ion. Now you see, in all these ligands, there is one donor atom which can donate a pair of electrons. In ammonia, there is one nitrogen atom. In water, there is one oxygen atom. Okay, like this. So unidentate ligands. So how we will define it? Unidentate ligands are those ligands which have got one donor atom to ligate with the central metal atom or ion. Similarly, then the next is bidentate ligand or didentate ligands. These are those ligands which have got two donor atoms to ligate or to bond with the central metal atom or ion. The examples which I have given you, one is oxalate ion and another is ethylene diamine ion. Right? Now diethylene diamine, not ion. Okay. So oxalate ion. Oxalic acid is COH, two COH groups, they are joined together. If you remove the protons, we get CO negative and CO negative. This is the structure of oxalate ion. So we use an abbreviation sometimes, it is OX, oxalate. Similarly, ethylene diamine, CH2 double bond CH2 is ethylene. When the double bond opens and two amino groups, they are attached to each carbon atom, then we get CH2, CH2, NH2, NH2. So this is ethylene diamine, and the abbreviation which we use is EN. Now if you see, there are two nitrogen atoms which are donor atoms which can donate pairs of electrons, and this gets attached to the central metal atom through these two nitrogen atoms. And oxalate legion, it gets attached to the central metal atom through two oxygen atoms. Okay, so didentate legions are those legions which have got two donor atoms and they attach to the central metal atom through their two donor atoms. Now, what is a polydentate legend? Polydentate legions are those legions which have got more than two donor atoms through which they get attached to the central metal atom or ion. Examples are, I have given example of a tridentate legend. It has got three donor atoms. The example is diethylene triamine. If you look at it carefully, there are three nitrogen atoms which are having pairs of electrons. So this triethylamine will get bonded to the central metal atom or ion through these three nitrogen atoms. So it is a tridentate legend. Then comes another example, hexadentate legend. Now the name is EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetate. You've already studied the structure of ethylene diamine. Now if we remove the hydrogen atoms attached to each nitrogen atom and we replace it with CH2COO negative group, we get ethylene diamine tetraacetate. Okay, so the structure is, please have a look at the structure. There are two nitrogen atoms which have got lone pair of electrons, and there are four oxygen atoms which are carrying negative charge and they can act as donor atoms. So when this legend gets attached to the central metal atom or ion, it gets attached through these six donor atoms. That's why it is called a hexadentate legend. Now the next definition is denticity of the legend. Now what do we understand by denticity of the legend? So denticity of the legend is the number of donor atoms through which a legend ligates with the central metal atom or ion. So what is denticity of the legend? It is the number of donor atoms through which a legend ligates with the central metal atom or ion. Then there is another definition, chelating legions. There are certain legions like oxalate legend and ethylene diamine legend. When they get bonded to the central metal atom or ion, they form a 5-membered or a 6-membered ring-like structures. Okay, such legions which form 5-membered rings or 6-membered rings with the central metal atom are known as chelating legions. Then comes another definition, that is chelates. These are also known as metal chelates. Now I have given two examples. Look at the example number 1. With the copper atom, two ethylene diamine legions, they are bonded. Now look at the expanded structure. Copper, it is bonded to two ethylene diamine legions, and you can see there are two rings which are formed. These are 5-membered rings and they are formed with copper atom, copper ion, copper cation, right? So such compounds in which the metal atom or metal ion form ring-like structures along with the chelating agents, they are known as metal chelates or simply chelates. In another example, there are three oxalate legions which are ligating with the iron cation. Now I have given the structure. You can see there are three oxalate legions which are ligating with the iron atom. So three rings are formed, three 5-membered rings are formed around the iron atom. So such complexes in which there are 5-membered or 6-membered rings formed by chelating legions with the central metal atom or ion are known as metal chelates. And what is chelate effect? What is chelation effect? Sir, the formation of 5-membered or 6-membered rings by the chelating legions with the central metal atom or ion is known as chelation effect or chelate effect. Okay. Now we will discuss homoleptic and heteroleptic complexes. Okay, look at the examples of homoleptic complexes. You will find in both these complexes only one type of ligands are ligating with the central metal ion. Now in the first example, 6 ammonia molecules, ligands, they are ligating with the cobalt cation. In the second example, there are 6 cyanide ligands which are ligating with the iron cation. So such type of complexes in which only one type of ligands are present, they are known as homoleptic complexes. So what are homoleptic complexes? Those complexes, those coordination complexes in which only one type of ligands are present, they are known as homoleptic complexes. And then comes heteroleptic complexes. Now in the second example, you have a look, there are two types of ligands. One is ammonia molecules, there are 4 number of ammonia molecules, and another one is chloride ligands, there are 2 chloride ligands which are ligating with the central metal cation cobalt. So then you will see many examples when you will study coordination compounds. More than 2 types of ligands will also be present there. So such type of complexes, such type of coordination complexes in which there are 2 or more than 2 types of ligands, they are known as heteroleptic complexes. Is it clear? These two definitions are very important. You please must remember these definitions along with the examples. Then the next one is an ambidentate ligand. It is very important term, and it is frequently asked in the question papers. Now you see, I have given 2 examples. One is that of nitro ligand and the other one is thiocyanate ligand, NO2 and SCN. Now NO2 can get attached to the central metal atom, that is M, through 2 different atoms. So it has got nitrogen atom. So in the first example, first case, it is ligating with the central metal cation with through nitrogen atom. Then in the second case, the nitro group is getting linked, getting bonded to the central metal atom or cation through oxygen atom. So this is the specialty. Now this nitro group, it has got 2 types of 2 donor atoms, 2 atoms which can act as donor atoms, but it ligates either through nitrogen or through oxygen. So when it ligates through nitrogen, we write nitrito-N. So what does it mean? It means that the nitro group is attached to the central metal cation or atom through nitrogen. When we write nitrito-O, what does it indicate? It indicates that the nitro ligand is attached to the central metal atom or cation through oxygen. So let us have a look on the second example also, thiocyanate. Now metal atom is bonded to this thiocyanate in the first case through sulfur atom, whereas in second case it is ligated through nitrogen atom, right? So there are 2 atoms, 2 donor atoms in this ligand. One is sulfur atom and one is nitrogen atom. So out of these 2, it will ligate through one of the donor atoms. So when it gets bonded through sulfur atom, we write thiocyanato, and when it gets bonded through nitrogen atom, we write isothiocyanato. So these are the examples of ambidentate ligands. Now how to define ambidentate ligands? Now see, from these examples, ambidentate ligands, they ligate only through one donor atom, even when they are having 2 atoms which can act as donor atoms. So we will define ambidentate ligands are unidentate ligands which ligate through one of the 2 donor atoms with the central metal atom or ion. They are not didentate ligands. Students usually confuse them with didentate ligands, right? The next definition is coordination number. So we write it in short, CN, coordination number. Now look at the first three examples, first three cases. In the first examples I have given silver complex with two ammonia ligands and another silver complex with the two cyanide ligands. Now in both these entities, in both these complexes, the silver atom is attached to two ligands only because the coordination number of silver is 2. So the total number of ligands, unidentate ligands, which ligate with the central metal atom is called its coordination number. So the coordination number of silver is 2. Now in the second pair of examples, I have taken two examples. One is copper cation and another is nickel complex. Now in copper, in cationic complex of copper, 4 ammonia molecules are bonded to copper cation. Similarly, in the second complex, 4 carbonyl groups, they are ligated with the nickel atom. So if somebody asks me, what is the coordination number of copper? What is the coordination number of nickel? Sir, there are 4 ligands, 4 unidentate ligands which are ligating with these atoms. So the coordination number of copper is also 4 and the coordination number of nickel is also 4. And in the third pair of examples, 6 cyanide ligands, they are ligating with 1 iron cation. Similarly, in the another example, there are 6 cyanide ligands which are ligating, which are getting bonded to the chromium cation. So if somebody asks me, what is the coordination number of iron? Sir, it is 6. What is the coordination number of chromium? It is 6. So what is coordination number? Sir, it is the number of unidentate ligands which ligate with the central metal atom or ion. I think it is clear. Now I am giving you another two examples. You see in the fourth example, there is one EDTA ligand which is ligating with the iron atom, right? Now EDTA, you know, is a hexadentate ligand. It is a hexadentate ligand. So the 6 atoms, 6 donor atoms, they are ligating with the iron atom. So what is the coordination number of iron in this complex? It is 6. So we can also say coordination number is the number of donor atoms which ligate with the central metal atom or ion. In the next example, it is an example of platinum complex. There are 2 ethylene diamine ligands and there are 2 chlorine ligands. So ethylene diamine is a didentate ligand. So the 2 ethylene diamine molecules, they will ligate with the platinum atom through 4 different donor atoms, and the 2 chlorine atoms, they will also ligate with the platinum atom through 2 different donor atoms. So in total there are 6 donor atoms which ligate with the platinum atom. So what is the coordination number of platinum atom? It is 6 in this case also. Then comes the definition of coordination sphere. Then comes the definition of coordination sphere. What is coordination sphere? Sir, coordination sphere is the part of the coordination compound. It is the part of the coordination compound which contains a metal atom along with the various ligands which are attached to it. So coordination sphere is the metal atom or ion along with the ligands which coordinate with this metal atom or ion. Then comes the definite. Now there are 2 examples, K4 FeCN6, and then there is another example of a complex of cobalt. So FeCN6, this is called, which is written in the square bracket, this represents the coordination sphere in this compound. Similarly, in cobalt complex, the cobalt atom along with the ammonium molecules and carbonate ligand, it represents the coordination sphere. Is it clear? Now another important term is counter ions. Now you will see that when you write the formula of various coordination complexes, there are certain cations, they are written on the left side, or there are certain anions, they are written on the right side of the coordination entity. That means outside the bracket you will write certain ions. These ions are known as counter ions. Okay, these are known as counter ions. What are counter ions? The ions which are written outside the square bracket in coordination compounds are known as counter ions. Then the last definition is coordination polyhedron. Coordination polyhedron, uh, it is defined as the spatial arrangement. It is defined as the spatial arrangement of the various ligands which are directly attached to the central metal atom. Okay, so the spatial arrangement. Now, if we join all these ligand atoms or groups through lines, we get a shape. It can be octahedral if there are 6 ligands. It can be tetrahedral or square planar if there are 4 ligands present around the central metal atom. So, coordination polyhedron is the spatial arrangement of ligands attached to the central metal atom or ion in the coordination sphere in the complex entity, right? So the geometrical shape. Now again I want to explain you something. All these ligands, they are bonded to the central metal atom or central metal ion through coordinate covalent bonds, and covalent bonds are directional. They are oriented in space in certain fixed direction. They differ from ionic bonds. In ionic bond, any anion can get linked to the cation in any from any direction. So they are directionless. But the covalent bonds, they have got fixed directions. So when ligands, they get attached to the central metal atom, they constitute a special spatial arrangement. That means arrangement in the space. This arrangement in the space defines the coordination polyhedron around the central metal atom or ion. Okay.